Fresh killer.
What up, tribe? My goodness. I just finished watching Dave Chappelle, The Dreamer, his latest offering in terms of stand-up is streaming on Netflix now. And I'm fresh off of this, man. I have a few thoughts. I like to share them with you all. Like this, subscribe to the tribe. Follow me on this. I just want to take you through, what I'm feeling emotionally after having watched Dave Chappelle stand up. Well, I will start off by saying there isn't anything incredibly new about this. So he's in DC. That's cool, but he's done that before. He started off in Killing Them Softly in DC, and he discussed that. That's part of the stand up. There's a reason why he's there. He's from that area. Um, He start he sucks you in. He sucks you in with kind of a long joke, with a with a very edgy punchline. And that punchline is about transgenders. Shocking. Well done. But there's nothing new about that either. Towards the end of the show, spoilers, of course, obviously. You should still watch it. Um, Towards the end of the show, he tells this very personal story, sits down, story time. Uh, he's done that before in the Bird Revelation. He's done that. He's a sit down, gather around. It's almost like he's having carpet time. Like remember you in the second grade and the teacher tell a story. Okay, everybody sit on the carpet, and he has carpet time, right? And I mean, it's fun. It's Dave Chappelle. It's funny, you know. Um, he cracks a joke about he he talks about something that happened when he was on a road with Chris Rock, and he said Chris Rock shocked a Baltimore crowd. And what he said about Baltimore that was really funny. He said some people don't realize the depth of Baltimore. He said Baltimore is so desperate that Tupac and his mother went to Oakland for a better life. So funny. Obviously, I am from Oakland. I thought it was really funny. But at any rate, it's Chappelle, and he's maintaining, I will say, something that was new was the camera angles because they offered the reaction of the audience. And so he's saying these really edgy, punchy jokes about LGBTQ, LGBTQ, about, I'm sorry, just about the queer community, LGBTQ. I don't know why that took me so long. But he's back in his bag, right? He won't allow them to back him down to the point where it almost felt like it's become too personal. Like, I, Dave, can you tap on some global issues? I don't know, the Israeli Palestinian thing, situation in the Congo and the Sudan. Like, there's so many other issues that I want Chappelle to address, but he is laser focused on responding to the queer community at every chance that he gets. And on one hand, it's like I respect him for not backing down, and someone needs to stand up for what it means to be a black masculine man, and he is one of the people that is doing that. On the other hand, it's almost like watching two people bicker back and forth. It's just like, okay, like stop it. It's part of me, like I said, just wants him to. It almost feels like the people in the queer community, not the whole queer community, but the few people in the community that that write about him and try to uh, make a mutiny and get people to oppose him in every conceivable way. To those few people, it almost it feels like they have too much control over him, right? Like they're taking this great mind that can speak on so many different things, and he just feels the need to respond with a lot of his craft, and so there's that going on. But I want to get back to the camera angles because he says things, and you see the audience experience the joke in real time. It's really beautifully done because they sit there and they let the joke set in. And there's this one shot, I tried to screenshot it, Netflix wouldn't let me screenshot it. But there's this one scene in particular where he says a joke, and there's a white guy, he's sitting there, and he looks left, there's a black guy laughing. He looks right, there's another person laughing. He's like, and then he finally lets the laugh go, but you get a sense of how tense we are right now as a society. Like when you see something like that's really funny to me, but I have to, is it okay for me to laugh? And then you have some people that don't respond to the jokes very well, like that is not funny. But it's a brilliant over the shoulder shot, and it happens a few times, and so I really like that. So that part is new, but I want to get into the title of the piece and what that means and that symbolism, because I was also brilliant. And it's called The Dreamer, and he focuses on the dream and what is the significance of dreams. And he references Dream Deferred, the poem by Langston Hughes. He does it like he's not doing this on accident. He's obviously an extremely skilled and intelligent person. Um, but he talks about the interior of the man and what makes a person a man, and how do you have to conduct yourself, and the principles that you must stand on. And he talks about it in such a way that I find to be very reinforcing, because masculinity is under attack. My goodness, do we throw the word toxic around an awful lot. We throw the word misogynist around an awful lot, and those things exist. But I think they are being used to dismiss a whole group of people, a whole individuals who came up as traditional men who played football and got in fights and talked about people's mothers and did all those things, right? And I'll say one thing about colonialism is that they get you to despise your own culture. They get you to think that the way that you eat food, the way that you dress, the way that you speak, your native tongue, your religion, everything about you is wrong and savage and backwards. And so the people that uphold those traditions, if you want to be forward thinking, if you want to be civilized, then you need to call those people out and abandon those people. And I see that happening a lot with masculinity. A man is just supposed to protect and provide. That's it. I think that we are saying now as a society, we don't need that anymore, right? So when I see Chappelle standing on these values, it makes me feel good. It draws me into the show. And so there's another thing that he said that really resonated with me. He talked about the dreamer, and he talked about being in the dream of Lil Nas X. You got to watch it. I won't, I won't spoil that part for you. But he said you have to be brave enough to dream and humble enough to know when you're a part of someone else's dream. And I taught a class this past semester. And in this class, I teach at a local college, okay, just for those who don't know. But in this class, there were a lot of athletes. I didn't ask for these athletes to be put into my class, but it was just a whole bunch of athletes in the class. Probably like 90% men in the class and like there were two women in the class. I think there were three at one point, one of them dropped. Okay. So like 20 plus dudes in the class, and they are athletes. Wow. So here I am, and they all know each other. My goodness, I had to deal with a lot of disruptions like sit down, excuse me, like just stuff like that. Like, we are too old, you are too old, this shouldn't be happening. But it did happen, and it was a it was an unforgettable class. Like, we talked about the five love languages, and we talked about emotionality and how to love, and how to receive love, and when to be. We talked about we had these great discussions, right? And when I selected the book, the five love languages, and we read Will Smith's autobiography, or it's not an autobiography, but his biography, as well. So we read those two books. When I chose the book about love language, I had no idea what my class would look like. Bam, there we are. Okay. So we get through it. My goodness, I'm making headway. We're connecting. We're having circle time. We're talking about all these great things. It's an experience. It was an experience. At the end of that class, a young brother approached me the last day and said, "Man, thank you." He said, "I don't normally ever speak in classes, but I feel really confident speaking now. And I thank you for sharing what you shared. And I will take the things that I learned in this class, and I'm gonna apply it to my life, man. Like, I feel like I really like broke through on some level." And he said to me, "I never say thank you to teachers at the end of the semester, right?" And so not only did he do that, right? And he waited for everybody to leave the class. We had that discussion, but he went home and then he sent me an email as well, pretty much saying the same thing. So when Chappelle says you have to be humble enough to realize when you're a part of someone's dream, that spoke to me because um, I had to really receive that, because I'm worrying about the class and grading and what am I going to lecture about? What's on the lesson plan? Um, this assignment, and it was the first time I was teaching that class, so it was like it was an added level of stress, because you don't know how certain things are going to go over in terms of lesson plans, and in terms of this project, this prompt, you just don't know because you haven't tested it out yet. So there was all of that. But I had to realize, yo, like, I'm really impacting these people on a profound level. And it doesn't matter where I look at myself and where I want to be and what my aspirations are and what I want to do in 2024. As of right now, they're looking at me as something to emulate, as something that is um, something that is solid in a world where they might not have a lot of things to hold on to. They can count on me and my word. I am a part of his dream, maybe other people in the class's dream as well. Men are not very expressive when it comes to emotions, when it comes to how they feel, when it comes to what hurt them. And oftentimes we can think that what we're going through it alone. And to make matters worse, we always smash and disrespect other men because we are programmed to hate ourselves and everything that looks like us. So there might be a brother that can save your life, man, that can express a testimony to you that will make you feel whole, that'll make your journey feel necessary. But you look at him and you see somebody like, "What you looking at me like that for?" And you see animosity and you feel, and you might end up getting into it with the dude on some level, right? Because we hate for that mirror to be held up. Okay. All right. I'm going somewhere with this. Follow me. When I see Dave Chappelle sitting down and telling these stories and telling these jokes, and I feel like he's maintaining. I feel like, but it's like, but he's still great. Like he's still super brilliant, but it's not like fresh and like, oh my God, and riveting and you know, it's not that, but he's showing us how do you stay in the pocket and how do you continue to stand for something in a world where everyone wants to separate you from the things that you hold dear. For those reasons, I would recommend Dave Chappelle, The Dreamer. I would not say that this is his greatest stand up. I would not even put it in the top three, but it's Dave Chappelle. And so it is funny. It is definitely worth checking out. And it's important because he is leading people that feel like they don't have a leader. He is speaking to the souls of people that have been told time and time again that their souls don't matter, that their feelings don't matter, that their experiences don't matter. At the end of it, there's pictures and all that, him, posing with famous people and all this type of stuff. It's largely a retrospective because he talks about, the first time he performed in DC, his girl was pregnant with his son. Now he smokes weed with his son and all this, right? So it's just like, wow. And I followed Dave Chappelle in the journey. I followed Dave Chappelle when he performed on Def Comedy Jam. Like I used to stay up late, like in elementary school, watching Chappelle. So it made me feel really old. But anyways, but it was cool because like I've been following him on this whole journey from the Nutty Professor, all this stuff, right? Um, but at the end, among the people he has pictures with, like, he has a picture with like Hulk Hogan and Jon Stewart and all these super famous people. But he also has a picture with the baby, the baby, the baby, the rapper from North Carolina who said some things on stage that were deemed to be homophobic. He was trying to get the crowd involved. Make some noise if but he went through that whole episode, and the powers that be said cancel him. They made sure his next album didn't sell. Like they legitimately did everything in their power to destroy him after making him one of the top selling rappers in the game. Okay. He told some jokes about the baby a few like stand-ups ago, talking about how, he can get away with the baby, can get away with killing someone. But once he hurt a gay man's feelings, then his career was basically, they tried to end it, right? So I saw a black and white picture with Dave Chappelle and a baby. And I said, shout out to the baby for continuing to do his thing. And shout out to Chappelle for lifting this brother up when he is down. And there are a lot of things that happen with people, with Black men, and they are made to be radioactive, right? You can't support them, or that means you're anti fill in a blank, right? Anti woman, anti queer, anti um, America, anti whatever. Like they make these people radioactive. And when in the 90s, I remember if a brother got in trouble, then people would support him no matter what. And now it's absolutely not that way. I believe that the powers that be have created so much dissension within the Black community to make the Black man the enemy, not just to the dominant society, but to make the masculine Black man the enemy in his own community, in his own household, in his own family. When I see Chappelle defying all that and say, listen, you still my brother. If you need help, I'm going to help you. And I have enough shine for the both of us, it's special. So Chappelle is solidified. I would say watch The Dreamer. I would give it, by Chappelle standards, I would probably give it, let's say, a high C, low B. But it's still super poignant. And I'm glad that I watched it. I just finished watching it, y'all. Let me know what you think, if you are mad, if you are upset, if you disagree, or if you agree. Go ahead and drop something in the comments. As always, subscribe to the tribe. And I'm out. Happy 2024. Peace.